Not all limits are chosen. Some are learned early and carried quietly. Some of the most powerful constraints in our lives were not decisions we made as adults. They were adaptations that we made as children. Welcome to Growing Tall Poppies, Thrive After Trauma. I'm your host, Dr. Nat Green, and I am so excited to have you join me as we discuss what it means to navigate your way through trauma or significant challenges and not just survive, but to thrive after it. This is a space for people who've been through trauma or adversity, have done some healing, and know they're meant for more than just coping. This podcast is about post-traumatic growth, not getting back to who you used to be. Rather, understanding who you are now and learning how to stand tall without shrinking, forcing, or abandoning yourself. Here, we explore identity after adversity, integrity and visibility wounds, nervous system wisdom, and what it really takes to move forward in a way that feels aligned, embodied, and true. You will hear a blend of deep solo conversations and powerful guest interviews with people who have lived this work, not just studied it. Because growth doesn't come from pushing harder, it comes from understanding how you adapted, honouring your nervous system, and gently updating the old agreements that no longer fit the life you're ready to live. If you're ready to stop hiding, stop performing, and start owning who you are becoming, then you are in the right place. Let's grow tall together. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Growing Tall Poppies podcast. I'm Dr. Nat Green, transformational breakthrough coach, creator of the ABS method and the archetypes of transformation. And today, I want to begin something a little different. This is the first episode in a short 3-part mini-series called The Invisible Ceiling, Identity Fractures That Keep High Achievers Stuck. And before we go any further, I really want you to know this is not a series about what's wrong with you. It's not about fixing you, and it's certainly not about diagnosing you. It is about understanding something that so many high-achieving, heart-led people that I know experience, but rarely have language for. That feeling of, I have done so much work, so why do I still feel held back, restricted, limited? So if that's you, just take a breath. You're in exactly the right place. Let's start with the experience that so many people just simply can't explain. So many of the people that I work with, coaches, therapists, healers, deep feelers, high achievers, people who are outwardly very capable, they come to me with a quiet, honest confusion. They'll say something like, Nat, I've done lots of inner work. I've been to therapy. I've read the books. I'm self-aware. I understand my childhood. I've worked so hard on myself. And yet, something still doesn't fully shift. They often say, I feel stuck at the edge of my next level. I keep hitting the same ceiling and I just can't get past it. I don't feel as free as I thought I would by now. Or a really common one, part of me wants more, but another part keeps pulling me back. And underneath it all is usually this question. Why? After all this growth, do I still feel so constrained and stuck? Well, today I want to offer you a very different possibility. Nothing is wrong with you. What you're experiencing is not failure. It's sure as heck not laziness. What is holding you back is not a mindset issue. It's not a lack of motivation. And it's not because you haven't tried hard enough. It is far more intelligent than that. It's because the thing holding you back isn't fully conscious. Sometimes it's an identity pattern. There is a phrase that I often come back to. Let me introduce a concept that is central to my work, and it's the heartbeat of this episode. Not all limits are chosen. Some are learned early and carried quietly. Some of the most powerful constraints in our lives were not decisions we made as adults. They were adaptations that we made as children. They were agreements that our nervous system formed. Long before we had language, long before we had perspective, and long before we knew that we were doing it. And this is where the concept of an identity fracture comes in. What is an identity fracture, you might ask? Well, let's stay here for a moment because I really want this to land deeply for you all. An identity fracture is not a diagnosis. It is not pathology. It does not mean that something is wrong with you. An identity fracture is simply the name that I give to something I have witnessed again and again in trauma, adversity, and the need for our nervous system's survival. It's the moment where the self gets split, where part of you keeps moving forward, but another part quietly contracts, pulls back, and protects. An identity fracture is often formed in an experience where something felt too much, too sudden, too shaming, too unsafe. And in that moment, your system does exactly what it is designed to do. It adapts and it protects. It makes an internal agreement about who it is safe to be. Identity fractures are formed before we have choice. Most identity fractures form early. At 4, at 5, at 7, even at 12. Not because something dramatic always happened, but because our safety was disrupted. And children organise their identity around one core question. Am I safe? Am I safe? That's it. Not intellectually, physiologically. And the nervous system doesn't respond with a paragraph, it responds with a rule, an embodied conclusion. Something like, don't stand out, don't need too much, don't trust, don't be a burden, don't be fully seen, and don't hope too much. These are not conscious beliefs. They are survival agreements, and they often become the invisible architecture of our adulthood. Identity fractures are not thoughts, they are organising patterns. And this is important. Identity fractures are not just thoughts that you can override. They are organising patterns, and they shape how you show up, what feels safe, what feels threatening, what you allow yourself to receive, how visible you become, how much ease you can tolerate, and how much joy you can hold. Most people don't know they're living inside an old agreement because it just feels like this is who I am. But often it's who you became to survive. Let me share a story. I once worked with a client, I'll call her C. And I know some of you have already heard me talk about her, but I just wanted to share this with you again. C carried a memory from when she was just 4 years old. A neighbour publicly shamed her, accusing her of destroying a robin's nest, knocking it down, destroying the eggs. C still remembers the shock, the humiliation, the devastation of being blamed for something she simply hadn't done. Another child later admitted that it was them. But by then, something had already settled in C's system. Not a belief she consciously chose, not a story she repeated every day. An agreement. And it sounded like this: don't stand out. Don't draw attention. It's safer to stay small than to be wrongly seen. And let me share with you that decades later, C was capable, intelligent, successful. She'd done heaps of therapy, self-development, coaching, meditation, all the things. And yet, every time she became more visible, every time she stepped forward, something tightened, something pulled her back. Not because she lacked confidence, but because her nervous system remembered. Visibility once had a cost, a huge cost for her. So her body protected her from repeating it. And this is what I mean when I say we're not trapped in the past, but we may still be organised around it. And this is why so many high achievers feel so confused, because they are functioning, they are succeeding, and yet they're bracing, they're overthinking, they're pushing through, and they're quietly capped and limiting themselves. And often it isn't because they haven't healed. It's because the nervous system is still loyal to an old identity contract. That contract might say, stay small, stay safe, don't fully receive, and don't take up space. Identity fractures don't dissolve through effort, they dissolve through integration. I want you to hear this clearly. Identity fractures are not dysfunction. They're intelligence. Your nervous system adapted brilliantly. That agreement may have kept you safe at 4, but it may be costing you your freedom at 44. And the work is not to shame the protector. The work is to gently update the contract. So today, there is absolutely nothing that you need to fix. Just notice. Just become curious. Because having that awareness opens the door. And safety is what walks you through it. And before we close, I want to offer you a gentle, guided reflection. So you don't just understand this concept, you begin to feel it. Now, as I take you through this, if you're driving, then please don't close your eyes. Wait until you're somewhere safe. So if it feels safe, just soften your gaze. Close your eyes for a moment and take a slow breath in. And a longer breath out. And just let your body arrive. Now gently ask yourself, where in my life do I feel an invisible ceiling? No analysing, just noticing. Where do I sense myself holding back, shrinking, hesitating? Now ask, what might my system be protecting me from? What did it learn early about being seen, about needing, about taking up space? And just let the first response arise. Maybe the agreement sounds like, don't stand out, don't trust, don't hope too much, don't be a burden. And now, place a hand over your heart if you'd like, and simply offer this. Of course I adapted. Of course my system protected me. Nothing is wrong with me. And take another breath. And maybe whisper, that was then. This is now. And integration is possible. And then, when you're ready, gently open your eyes and return. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your courage. Remember, not all limits are chosen. Some were learned early and carried quietly. But awareness opens that door. And in our next episode, we'll explore how the nervous system becomes that protector and why your nervous system is not the problem. It is the doorway. So much love, gratitude. Keep standing tall like the tall poppy that you were always meant to be. Bye for now. Thank you for spending this time with me on Growing Tall Poppies. My hope is that today's episode has offered you something more than insight, that it's helped you feel a little more connected to who you are now, a little more trusting of your body, and a little more permission to stand tall without shrinking or forcing yourself forward. Post-traumatic growth isn't about fixing yourself or returning to who you once were. It's about understanding how you adapted, honouring your nervous system, and gently choosing what no longer needs to come with you. New episodes of Growing Tall Poppies are released weekly, every Tuesday, and I'd love for you to continue walking this path with us as we explore identity after adversity, integrity and visibility wounds, nervous system wisdom, and what it truly means to grow forward, grounded, aligned, and embodied. If this episode resonated, I invite you to subscribe, follow, share it with someone that you feel might need it, or simply take a quiet moment to reflect, on what's ready to move forward for you. You can also find me on Instagram at Dr. Nat Green, on Facebook at Dr. Natalie Green, or over on YouTube at Dr. Nat Green. And remember, you don't need to rush, and you don't need to hide anymore. Stay connected, stay true, and keep standing tall like the tall poppy you are. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.